first fat line. First fat line.
First fat line?
First fat line is
I see
lema
what you're saying.
ketanoi.
Okay, that's what you mean. Wide line. How about wide?
Wide line.
What's
yeah.
the subject?
The subject, once again, we're talking
The
about
subject.
whether the
Still.
subject is objects. Yes. The subjects who find objects. So
We're slow.
the argument that we've been discussing is whether the concept of signs on a lost object, is that something from Torah law, or is that something that works according only to rabbinic law? Meaning, was it the Torah said that if you want to identify something, you can put signs on it, and signs are a way to go?
Let me ask you a question again. You have the Torah law, then you have the oral law, and then you have the Shulchan Aruch. So at what time, I thought the oral law was actually discussing with the things in detail about the Torah.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So part of the oral law is how the written Torah should be interpreted and applied. And then the rabbis came and said, we need to make fences around the Torah so that people don't act like. So the rabbis told us you have to check for chametz around your house. You have to check for chametz. Why do you have to check for chametz? Because they said, well, maybe you'll miss it, and there'll be a roll, and there'll be a challah roll that you'll find over the Pesach holiday. So they did that. They made that special rabbinic law so that you would make sure and check your house and get rid of the chametz. So we asked now, are signs are like saying, the coat I lost was red, and that's good enough for you to get your coat back. Is that good enough according to Torah law, or is that only rabbinic law? Now, it makes a difference on cases where, according to the Torah, something needs to be identified, and we are about to learn a different case. So, lema ketanoi. Let's say that this argument about whether signs are Torah law or rabbinic law is actually a machloket from earlier sages called Tanaim. Earlier sages, they were during the Second Temple period, called Tanaim. So, ein me'idin ala shuma, one says you do not testify on a mole. Rabbi Elazar ben Mahavai Omer, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Mahavai, says me'idin ala shuma. You can testify on a mole. Now, a mole? No, mole like a pimple.
Oh, okay.
So what that means is, if you have a husband who has disappeared, and the woman needs a bill of divorce, or she needs for the husband to be dead before she can remarry. If he's disappeared, we don't know where he is, then she can't get remarried. It's a very terrible situation. It's called the aguna, a chained woman. So the question is, suppose you find a body, and witnesses go and say, hey, that's Jacob. That's good old Jacob Goldstein who abandoned his wife. And how do I know this? And the rabbis go, well, how do you know that that's Jacob? There's a mole. There's a mole that we know, that was on his back or on his face or whatever it was. There's a mole. So is that considered a good enough sign? So now, this is according to the Torah. According to the Torah, you need to identify this man positively before this woman can remarry. So now this is saying there's a sign on this man's body, a mole. Does it work according to the Torah?
How many witnesses? Only one or two? Or how many?
I believe in this case you can only need one. So my lav b'hakamivgi the kanakama savar siman derabanan b'Elazar ben Mahavai savar siman deraisa. That the one that the Tanakama says that doesn't work. It doesn't work. You cannot testify in a mole. He must say that signs, when you identify signs, that's only rabbinic law. But for Torah law, you need something more. You need like a driver's license, or you need something. You need like a really positive, something more than just a sign, a mole. But Elazar ben Mahavai says no, simanin, signs are Torah law. They work according to Torah law. Therefore, a mole works. So maybe that's what they're arguing about. So this whole thing about whether signs are Torah law, it's actually, this is what they're arguing about right here. So the Gemara is going to go through a few possibilities on why that doesn't have to necessarily be the case. Amar Rava, Dekuli Alma Simanin Deraisa. Really, I'll tell you, the Abacha B'Shimon Mitzia Ben Gilo Kamiflagi. Rava says, no, really, I'll tell you, everybody holds that simanin, that signs work according to Torah law. Everybody holds that. So why doesn't the Tanna Kama say that it works? So Elazar ben Mahabai says it works, we're okay. Why the Tanna Kama? Why did the first Tana who said it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? Signs work according to Torah law. The answer is what they're arguing about, whether a mole is common on someone's Ben Gilo. Now, a Ben Gilo in Gemara language is people who are alike, or who look alike. We're born under the same star, we're born under that type of thing. Like sometimes, I've met people in my life that I look and like, wow, you look like me.
Mm-hmm.
You act like me.
You're Gemini.
You're Gemini. You're so
Everybody has a body double.
everybody, so like has like a little double out there that's like, wow, there's something. So that's actually plays a part over here. The question is, if we all have body doubles, if we all have people who may look like each other, can I testify that this body is definitely who I think it is? So the question is a mole common for people to share? Like if you and your look-alike to share, for you and someone who looks like you to share, is a mole common? Meaning if you and your Gemini, your look-alike, your doppelganger, if that person also has a mole like you, if that's common. So really everyone holds that's Torah law. But Marsav Shuma Mitzui Ben Gilo, that first Tana, he says no, but it still doesn't work. Why? Because this person could be his look-alike, his doppelganger. Maybe that's not actually the husband. Says no, a mole is a definitive proof. Mole is not common even with your doppelganger. So if you want, I'll say, let's keep this going. The Kuli Alma, Shuma Eina Mitzui Ben Kilo. Alright, so let's get the chain here. Really, everybody holds signs work according to Torah law. And now also, everybody holds that a mole is not common with your doppelganger. So why then, so now we're just exploring this possibility. So why then would the first Tana say it doesn't work? Why didn't it work? Mole is in common with your doppelganger, and signs are according to Torah law. The answer is he's arguing whether signs change after death. So really this thing can work. A mole works. Everything works. But what they're arguing about, they're not arguing about whether signs work according to Torah law. They do. But they're arguing about whether signs change after death. So the Tanna Kama says that this can't work, even though signs work and a mole is a good sign. It's not something you have to worry about doppelgangers with. But he says, no, still, they're not going to, it changes after death. It changes after death. Meaning if he had a mole, it would have been gone by now. It would have been gone, so this mole is something different. The mole that you had while he was alive, it won't be the same thing after death. So, but Elazar ben Mahabai says it does work. He says, nope, these signs won't change after death. Yes.
Who is right and who is wrong?
Yes.
Rabbi?
What?
Is he going to continue on?
Oh, it continues.
Is it a conclusion?
It's even
You
more.
don't never
It's even
Is
more
it a
fun.
conclusion or not?
No,
There
Is
it is.
it up in the air?
No,
Yes. Oh, wait. Well, let's get to
include
the
next
end here.
week.
Now the Gemara does a 180 degree. And it says, okay. Really, if you want, I'll give you another answer. Really, everybody says that a mole does not change after death.
Right.
Not only that, we can even, according to signs are rabbinic. Meaning, even if you want to say, we're trying to answer the question. So we say, okay, you can even say that signs are rabbinic. If the signs are rabbinic, then why, according to Elazar ben Mahabai, does it work? Why can you say that this mole identifies the person, and it doesn't, and the mole doesn't change after death? Why does Elazar ben Mahabai say that it works? That it works? It's rabbinic. Marsav Shuma Siman Muvaku, Marsav Shuma Lav Siman Muvaku. That one person holds that Rabbi Lazar ben Mahava. So the argument here is really everybody says that signs are rabbinic, but if something is a siman mufak, if something is such a positive identification, then that works according to Torah law, according to everybody. Right, so this is a very important distinction.
Say that again.
The question is there's a siman, there's a sign,
Right.
but then there's also something even more called a siman mufak, like a permanent sign, something that is so identifiable with the object.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you lost your driver's license,
Yeah.
or let's say you lost your wallet, a regular sign would be, "Oh, my wallet is brown. Oh, my wallet is of this company." But if it has your driver's license in it, that is so like
Right.
that's your wallet.
Right.
That's your sibling. It says your name on it. Your name is such a absolutely that even according to Torah law works according to everybody. So what they're arguing about here is a mole that type of sign. It's a mole that type of incredible sign that works according to everybody, even if you say that signs are rabbinic.
Wait a minute.
Some moles
This
are
mole
not-
has to be in a
some moles are
specific
bigger than other
location, or it
moles.
could be anywhere. with the
Anyway.
Anywhere.
Okay, you know about this person who has a mole. Okay, so let's we'll call it for today. But before we do, let's just try to go through this again. So recapping to recap this. We wanted to say that this whole discussion about whether signs work according to Torah law are an argument for the Tanaim, because one Tana says that a mole doesn't work, and to identify a body, a husband's body, and Elazar ben Ahavai or Elazar ben Ahavai says, no, they do work. And we say, so we see here they're arguing about it. This wasn't just us. Way back beforehand, they were arguing about it. And so we say no. So the Gemara wants to try to do and say, not necessarily. Really, I'll tell you, first of all, you can't give me definitive proof that they were arguing about this. Because maybe everybody holds, so the Gemara goes through a few different possibilities of what they could be arguing about. So one says that, really, I'll tell you, everybody holds it works, according to Torah law. But they're just discussing whether a mole is common to find on a doppelganger or not. And if it is, then you can't use it as identification. Or one says, okay, maybe they're not arguing about that. Maybe they'll say, of course, it's not common to find on a doppelganger, but still, the Tanna Kama says what they're arguing about instead is whether signs change after death. So if a mole, so Tanna Kama says it would work, but these is a sign that changes after death. And Elazar says, no, these signs don't change after death. And then we have the third possibility that no, everybody holds that signs are rabbinic, and the reason why Elazar ben Mahavai still says it works is because he holds that it's a siman mufak, that it's like having your name, it's having your name on something, something very, very obvious. So at the end of the day, we still don't have our answer.
Poor Mashiach, he's got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
You got to resolve this one.
So I know some people can be a little frustrated. They want, but this is actually the point. This is the process. Is the point. The process.
We're in the process.
To be able to learn how to think.
Right.
To be able to learn how to analyze. This is what, by the way, freedom is. Slaves aren't supposed to analyze. Slaves are just supposed to do what they're told. That's if you're a master and you own a slave, you don't want that to happen. You're like, no, I don't want them talking and freedom. So so therefore, it's very, very important that we discuss.
One thing I learned doing the study about Pesach, that it's a process, and just don't wait to the conclusion. Keep waiting for the conclusion. What's the answer? Enjoy the moment. Enjoy what you're doing today. Don't wait for the big bang. It's going to happen way down the road. And you are evolving. Every year you learn something new. Every day we sit around, we learn something new. enjoy this moment that you just gave us, and we go from there.